Hey there, it's Ravit and Murray on the Nasty Divorces podcast. We are not lawyers or therapists. We are two divorced parents on a mission to demystify nasty divorces, understand why nasty divorces are becoming an epidemic, and problems we see in today's divorces. And today we're going to be talking about the changes that we felt and still feel after many years of divorce. I don't know about you, Murray, but I've been divorced for 8 years. How many years have you been divorced?
Oh, more than that.
You don't want to tell us exactly how many.
No,
So over 10, let's say. A decade or two?
Sure. Well, or two.
I don't know.
No, a decade and a couple of years.
A decade plus some change.
What biggest change hit you? What's I know mine.
Oh, mine is being alone and doing everything. It's taking care of everything that my kids need. It's suddenly the financial stress is all on me.
Sure.
The role of parenting is all dumped on me, and I don't have much time for myself.
Now, is this to say on the role of parenting is on you? Is this to say that Dad didn't in the beginning at least have a connection, or?
Yeah, he did have a connection, but I have a lot more responsibilities.
I get it.
I had a lot more on my plate. And, with the changes of the divorce and the changes of your life and the changes in, everything that's going on in your head, you still have to take care of kids at the same time.
The emotional turmoil, may I interrupt?
Yes.
The emotional turmoil, even though you're getting a divorce,
yeah,
it still is a big deal. And if you're in the throes of divorce, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're, just on the precipice and about to take that step, believe me, you're going to have emotions that are going to confuse the hell out of you.
Oh, yeah.
For example, is this the right thing? And geez, you know what? I had a dream about him last night, and it was nice. It was comfortable. It was a great place to be in. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. So
you're doubtful.
Be prepared. Yeah, be prepared for things that'll come your way as you embark on this road of great change. That, gee, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe I should go back to it. Maybe I'm going to talk to him tonight. Or I'm going to talk to her tonight. We're going to see if we can do something here. So it's not a straight path to divorce, trust me.
I know. It's definitely not a straight path. It's actually the hardest path to be on. I always say that divorce is almost worse than death. With all the experiences that I've had in the last 8 years, sometimes I say to myself, I wonder if it was just easier if I was a widow. Only because, when you're, and both are very hard to deal with emotionally, and they're heartbreaking. But the way I look at it is, if you become a sudden widow, you have good and happy thoughts of the other person. You're trying to hang on to whatever good memories you had and the good stories. When you get divorced, you ain't thinking of anything good. You're like going straight to the bad, and you're like rolling around in your head with all these thoughts and feelings of the bad and the worst, and everything is negative and dark.
Maybe that's what you experienced.
Oh, yeah.
But oddly enough, I have found that my human psyche recalled only the good things. And I'm like,
lucky you.
Oh, man. But anyway, ask me the question. What was the biggest thing?
I'm going to ask you.
Please.
Murray, what are the biggest changes in your life?
Shopping for food.
Oh, that's such a good one.
It was, but it's funny. I know I'm going to buy cucumbers, I'm going to buy vegetables, or I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to buy a can of V8 juice, a case of it, and But the thing that got me the most was actually physically going into a grocery store and shopping. The actual act of shopping. Not what I was picking up. It's just that we shopped together. And now I'm shopping alone. I'm telling you, it was one of the loneliest feelings ever. It was amazing.
Because you weren't sure what to buy or what prices to look at?
I knew what to buy. I knew what to buy. I know how to take care of myself. I know that stuff.
So it was a memory that you had, that you used to always shop together. It was something they used to do as a couple, and now you're doing it alone.
Boom, now I'm alone.
What about when you went shopping and you actually had to make your kids' lunchboxes? Did you know what to prepare for their lunchboxes? Did you know what you needed in the house?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I got smarter. What I used to do was buy the processed meats.
Yeah.
And a couple of loaves of bread, and I kind of took care of it that way, obviously with juice or water or whatever.
Yeah.
But now processed meats are not so good. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So
what would you have to do? Let's say today we know that processed meats are not good. What would you make?
Peanut butter sandwiches. And I would.
But you can't bring peanut butter to school anymore.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. I saw those letters,
Yeah.
and I said, "Well, Meg, my daughter, don't show anybody what you're eating. Just eat it."
You
Okay.
can't. There are other kids who are anaphylactic
Yeah.
that they will die if they even smell it.
No.
We're not allowed to bring nuts. We're not allowed to bring peanuts. Sometimes not allowed sesame seeds, and then you're not allowed fish. Like, I don't even know what to give them anymore.
Why don't you just give them water and hope they'll do best?
Yeah, water and celery.
See?
And if it's a good day, we'll give them some cucumbers too.
And if there's no, and, not to be unfeeling about this, but
Yeah.
let's say everybody's allergic to everything.
I know, it's ridiculous.
But and now there's a thinking, by the way, that and noted doctors are starting to say your son has got a peanut allergy. Good, give him peanuts.
Well, that's a whole other conversation because
Yeah.
when I was in my 20s, I developed this severe anaphylactic allergy to nuts and peanuts.
Oh.
And I was fine till I was in my 20s, and from 20 on, I couldn't even touch a peanut. And even like being in contact with it was really bad. I had an EpiPen, I had the medical alert bracelet. Like, don't ask. Like, I'd been to the hospital.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was horrible. I outgrew it, but I know what it feels like. But
And it's interesting that you say, it almost sounds like we're off topic, but we're not. It's one of the things that guys really wouldn't have to deal with.
exactly.
It's usually on the woman's plate.
Yeah.
Not to be, I don't know, paternalistic or to say
Well, it's the
sexist
reality
about it.
because if they didn't take care of the lunch boxes and meals when they were married, this is a huge change.
Yeah.
This is a huge adaptation. So as a woman, I was adapting to the fact that I was literally had to be superwoman. I had to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like no shortcuts on anything. Like this past weekend was a long weekend. I just spent 2 days cooking and cleaning so that I have enough food for the week. If I was married, I probably wouldn't have spent all that time cooking and cleaning for 2 days. I would have done things differently. But the adjustment of, oh my God, when is it me time? When do I get to like breathe a little bit and do something fun a little bit? And that to me was the hardest, is that I didn't have a lot of alone time or downtime, and everything was about everyone else, which is why I think it took me so long to sort of recover from my divorce. I mean, they say that women usually recover between 1 to 2 years. That's the emotional side and the attachment to the ex.
Yep.
But the adjustment is huge if you're used to a certain quality of life and then you don't have that anymore, and all of that has changed. I mean, I can really say comfortably my entire life turned upside down. That the status quo that I had when I was married was not what I had when I was divorced. The quality of life that I had was not even close to what I have even now. I mean, maybe now a little bit more, but after 8 years.
Sorry, the changes that you were talking about affected me as we're just talking and recalling. I remember that. Oh, yeah. And one of the things I remember, I had an apartment.
Yeah.
And I had electricity in that apartment, and I had a telephone and other things, right? And all of a sudden, the electricity was cut, and the phone was off.
Okay.
And there's people knocking at the door saying, "Where's our rent?" And like, I'm thinking, "Geez, I'm kind of letting things go here." And it's odd that it's like, well, duh, you got to pay for your electricity in order for it not to be shut off.
Yeah.
But I just let it go, and all I did was work and date. And the things you have to remember, things that maybe she took care of, and all of a sudden you got to do it. And if you don't do it, guess what? It's a slap in the head.
It is.
Wake up, man.
And you know what? And this is why I think one of the main reasons why people have such acrimonious divorces is because, as a woman, naturally we know that we have to do this, and this, and we know our list.
Yeah.
But as a male, if I compare it to my male friends and the males that I had researched or talked to when it came to writing my book, there was like this common pattern of this fear of looking like a loser to the ex-wife, this fear of making her think that she's so happy she got rid of him because he's completely useless around the house. And so because of that, he would never show her that he was inept in certain areas. For example, he would not take the kids for the 2-week vacation. Why? Not because he doesn't love his kids, because he doesn't know how to handle it. He didn't know how to, like one particular friend didn't know how to handle the everyday life. So I actually sat with him and made a menu of what to feed for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 14 days. And when he went shopping, let's say on the Sunday for the rest of the week, he knew what to buy for the whole week, and he knew exactly what he was making, and he knew exactly what he was doing. Because the thought of oh my God, I'm gonna go have an anxiety attack because I don't know what to make them for supper
I'm
today.
having an anxiety attack right now as you talk like that.
Really?
Oh my God, I can imagine a scenario of my life. Dad, what are we having for supper? Oh, jeez, I don't know. And then I go out and buy something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that took
In
care
a
of the night.
panic.
You sure? No, not in a panic.
Last minute rush.
Last minute, exactly.
Yeah.
But not a thought would have been given to, okay, now what about tomorrow night, Murray?
Exactly.
I'll get there. And when I get there, I'll buy for tomorrow night. But the thought of going out on a Monday, or like what you just did, you drew up a menu of what, 14 days?
14 days.
Holy crap.
It was so easy. It took us 10 minutes.
Oh, because you have this wonderful organized brain, and I admire that. I really do.
Thank you.
And women generally do have a much
Yes.
more organized brain, which is why they are the nesters.
Yes.
Is that being sexist? I don't care. They are the nesters. They organize. They decide. Oh my God, you guys are good. Guys, we are empty vessels sometimes. Hey, well, I'll grab a sandwich. Like I said, V8 juice. I'm not going to cut up all the nice veggies and then fry them up nicely in some oil. And I'll just grab a can of V8. And kids, little V8 tonight for you too. There's
and
your
some peanut butter sandwiches, and hopefully your mouth will open after.
Yes. Yes.
But
So
you
anyway.
see, it's something so small like that that most parents don't look at.
Mm.
You know, in this whole game of fighting and this swarm of emotional turmoil, they don't realize that sometimes it's so basic. But he will never show you that he's a loser. He will never show you that he can't handle it. So what will you do instead? Say, nah, not taking the kids. Why? A wife or the mother would say because. And he's not going to tell you why, because he's not going to tell you he won't be able to.
Maybe he doesn't know.
Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe it's just the
Admit to
stress.
himself that
Yeah. Maybe it's just the stress of, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. So not only do I have to wake up the kids and then take them to school and get them ready and prepare the lunch boxes, I have to pick them up in the afternoon. They have to have a shower. Then I have to feed them supper. And maybe we have homework to do. And I'm going to do that for 5 days in a row. And somewhere in there, I have to breathe. And then somewhere in there, I have to do laundry. And somewhere in there, one of the kids is going to need something. So I have to run to the store. It's a lot for certain people to handle if they've never handled it before.
And in the past, at least when you were married, he was handling some of these responsibilities. Maybe not all of them.
Some are not.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's all on your plate.
All.
Because if he's using them and against you to try and get one-upmanship, or maybe he's just too embarrassed. And you know what? We as in humans, don't like admitting that we don't know stuff. So if you're saying, so you got the kids for 2 weeks or a week? Yep. Okay. So I'm presuming you know how to feed them. Okay, the sarcasm we can do it. I'm sorry, I'm reliving my past. But you know what I mean? Maybe we just don't know.
Exactly.
And women, to generalize, but I'm sorry I'm doing it. Women go like, well, duh, why don't you?
Right.
Because I don't, or we don't.
So do you think it would have been easier for you, on the days that you had the kids, if your ex-wife or their mother would tell you, listen, Murray, if you follow this meal plan, you're going to be fine the whole week. So at least you know what to prepare yourself. Would it make it easier for you then?
I don't know, because it didn't go down that way with me. Yeah. I was in my kids' lives every day.
Okay, yeah.
And into the night. That's just the way it worked.
Okay.
And so I don't know.
But other men, I'm sure, if you were to go and talk to your male friends, divorced, I'm sure that they would end up telling you that one of their biggest fears is that they're just going to fuck it up.
Well,
and they'd rather not screw up. They'd rather not put themselves in that situation of failure.
You know what? I've always, if you are going to mess things up, accept the fact that you're human. Accept the fact that this is a whole new experience for you as well as her, your ex.
Yeah.
And you're going to mess up. And if you do mess up, you know what? Okay, so what? So what? We're human. We mess up.
Right.
You know, I think it's incumbent upon the ex-mate to not say, you messed up and you're an idiot and Don't use the fact that he made a mistake or she made a mistake, because women make mistakes too, I've heard.
Uh-huh.
And
You haven't heard often, have you?
don't use it as a weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
exactly.
like,
Help them out. Help each other out.
Yeah.
You know what? It'll make your life, yeah, you might not want to, and you may
Mhm.
not want to speak to this person. You may not want to see them, and you may not want to have any contact. But at the end of the day, if your children are at, the other parent's house,
Mhm.
and you want your children to enjoy being there, sometimes sharing the fact that, this kid likes their macaroni and cheese with ketchup, so make sure you have some ketchup when you go shopping.
Mhm.
This kid likes vanilla yogurt only, so buy vanilla yogurt only. It's not so hard, but I understand it, because when you hate each other, you don't want to have anything to do with each other. You don't want to help each other. And that's where a lot of the animosity starts to build, and it just makes life so much more difficult.
Funny you talk about desserts. May West crunched up
Yeah.
into yogurt.
I never even heard of that.
Okay,
Do they
well-
even make May West anymore?
Oh, good, yeah. And they
Okay.
went back to the original recipe. Thank you so much for doing that.
Oh,
And
Murray's
so-
a happy man now.
Yeah. So anyway, I did that. Okay, and and to this day, my sons make it, and it's the best.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Although
nice.
I do remember a certain frown directed my way. I thought, what are you doing? And it's okay to invent stuff. Sometimes, how about this one? How about this one? I think my son Darren would tell you about this one. Pea soup as the basis for something. Okay,
Oh.
so you add the pea soup. Yeah, what else?
But pea soup from a can?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Enough of the soaking the beans all day stuff. Oh God, I got a life. So and then you use that as a basis for adding stuff to it, right? Adding bits of meat, ham, for example.
Oh.
Adding bits of whatever you just onion,
Okay.
and to this day, but I I can't remember. He would, my son, would remember what I did one time, and I just overdid it.
Oh.
I think I went into the fridge and went, yeah, a little of that, a little of that, a little extra stuff
Oh,
that's in
really?
the fridge, it's going to go bad tomorrow anyway. So I put it in. It was the most awful soup that could ever be made. So anyway, if you guys are inventive, bless you,
Thank you.
inventive, then watch your inventiveness, because it can come back to you years later when your kids go, Dad, you remember when I made that pea soup? I just wanted to tell you I hated that pea soup.
Dad, you remember that peanut butter sandwich that I'll never forget that I couldn't even open my mouth after?
Yes, always remember, this is from an earlier show, always remember there's a limited amount of peanut butter you can put between two pieces of bread.
Exactly.
You don't want to glue your children's mouths shut.
We should have a show just of men's epic, he's looking at me.
Men's epic,
Men's epic cooking failures.
period, or comma. And women's,
Oh, why are you so sensitive? Why can't we just have one show about men? Listen, I have had many epic fails,
oh,
but I have.
take note of the timer. Yes.
In terms of cooking, I can't say that I'm like the best cook. There's like a few dishes that I really know how to make. Quite frankly, I don't feel like being in the kitchen all the time.
Okay.
And I'm not one of those who's going to be baking all day and all weekend long.
Yeah.
I'd rather purchase it or not eat it at all.
I hear you.
So I understand that part is hard, but going back to to the changes that we were talking about, besides the cooking and the lunch boxes and all that, there's also the change of adjusting to your new reality that you're going to be alone. And that when your kids are not around and you may not have the friends to go out with, or you may not feel like it, you have to be careful not to isolate yourself, because it could also turn into addictions.
Yep.
And many people really fall deep into the addictions just out of the pure loneliness of it. And when you don't have a good network or support system that can really help you through this phase, you're going to have a harder time.
You can also use this time to get to know yourself better.
Oh, I did.
That being alone is not necessarily going to be you being lonely.
Right.
That it's okay to be alone.
Yeah.
And that terrified me. So use it as a learning curve for yourself. See what are the possibilities out there. Pick up reading. Maybe you haven't read a book in a long, long time. And go and find out what it's all about. You know what I mean?
Even self-help books, or get into like a hobby. Find something light that you could do at night.
Yeah.
Whether you're building something or maybe you're cooking. You know, maybe you want to, pick up like a cookbook and start trying new recipes.
And maybe you're a very non-adventurous type.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Decide to go parachuting.
Sure.
Yeah, I did that, by the way, last year.
Did you? Oh, yeah, I
Holy
remember that.
Jeez,
That was scary.
14,500 feet.
Yeah, you
You know
would
what I mean?
not find me doing
But I'm
that.
not that type. I'm not a type. There are types who watch life go by, and there are types who go and take a bite of life. And I'd like to think of myself as someone who takes a bite out of life. Because
Okay.
at the end of our days, when we're sitting in our rocking chairs,
Oh,
we want to regret the things we did do, not what we didn't do.
I know.
Thank you, Mark Twain.
Well, jumping out of a plane is not something I think I'll ever
Fine, no
regret.
problem.
But we were going to have a series of shows coming up in the next couple of days all about change. We're going to talk about changes for the children, changes for the mother, changes for the father, and changes for the. Take a guess.
No, I hate tests.
You love them.
What is it?
Who else gets affected by change?
Grandma and Grandpa.
Yes, grandparents. I knew
Oh.
this one was going to touch Murray's soft spot.
Okay.
We're going to talk about, all how it affects each one of those groups and why it's important to keep a look at all of those things, because as we're getting divorced, sometimes we get annoyed at our parents, but we don't realize that grandma and grandpa are the ones who are also suffering tremendously, and they're going through change. So if you understand the changes that everyone else is going through and you could be empathetic to each one of those people, then it'll make your life that much easier.
Well said.
Thank you. And on that note, please make sure you join us on Facebook or LinkedIn at Ravit Rose, Ravitrose. Have yourself a day that matters. See you next time.